Recall का recall हो गया.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
You can also create music in Audacity, right? You can basically give a simple text prompt.
When do you think AI will trickle down to the mid segment or the budget segment going forward?
Great question.
जहाँ पे हमें 2 दिन का battery life मिले अभी
I think one day should be okay, committing on what everyone is saying.
For gamers, for freelancers, for creators, are really giving them the next level in terms of
Allows you to run your game at a higher FPS, right, without compromising on visual fidelity.
Hello and welcome to MSP Tech in Focus, where we talk about the new wave of tech and the difference it makes. कई सालों से AI के बारे में चर्चा चल रही है. स्मार्टफोन से लेके वॉशिंग मशीन तक आपको AI देखने को मिल जाता है. The latest buzzword though is AI PCs. बहुत सारे लैपटॉप्स के अंदर आजकल AI देखने को मिल रहा है और इवन चिपसेट्स के अंदर. लेकिन ये तो होगी थोड़ी जेनेरिक ऊपर की बातें. डेटा क्या बोलता है? उसके लिए हमारे पास है Anshika Jain. Welcome to our show.
Thank you
Anshika
so much.
is a research analyst at Counterpoint. Just walk us through how you have been using AI lately.
So right now I'm using AI in my phones in the form of assistant. So if we have to give any basic command like setting up the alarm or playing anything over the phone, so I just use the simple digital assistant Siri. Hey Siri, play this for me. So this is the simple way of using AI in your day-to-day work environment.
Right. When it comes to AI PCs, which has become more of a buzzword these days, where are we headed? कई सारे AI PCs recently launched हुए हैं. What does the market look like at the moment?
Currently, we are still in the deployment stage where we are seeing a lot of component vendors are currently being active. They are launching their chipsets, which are specifically designed for Copilot Plus PCs. And in the next year, we are going to see more momentum from the OEM side, where all the leading players, be it Lenovo, be it HP, Dell, Asus, Acer, all the players, they'll bring in more AI PC related portfolio, and that is going to make a bigger impact in terms of the customer adoption.
Got it. अब इंडियंस के लिए ना वैल्यू बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होती है. What do you think is the value that is brought by these AI PCs?
I think the AI PC is certainly going to redefine the user interface as well as the user interaction. So there will be new ways where users can utilize these PCs to simplify their work. These devices will be more user friendly. And we are going to see that in terms of customer adoption, there will be 5 C's which will redefine this. So first is content discovery. People can use it in terms of editing their images, videos, and there are possibilities about live translation. So as Microsoft highlighted, like you can translate 40 different language audios into English, so which actually removes the language barrier for the people. Then the second important thing over here is content aggregation, which is specifically useful for information workers. So they can use it for their day-to-day work environment. They can create summary of documents, emails, PDF files, as well as they can even enhance the grammar tone. So that is basically useful for information workers. Then the third C that I'm going to talk about is the content creation, where we are talking about the generation of new kind of images and videos that opens up an ultimately new arena of imagination and basically putting that imagination into reality. I think social media is already using it in terms of generative AI, in terms of creating new content, which is more engaging. So there we are seeing more traction, and along with this, we are seeing more customization, which we also call hyper-personalization, where notifications can be personalized and there will be more work-related applications which will be there. And the last one is the last C is we can talk about the camera enhancements and the audio enhancements. So you have smart AI features like face framing, background blurring, and even you can have eye contact correction. So all those kind of features will ultimately enhance the online meeting experience of the user. This is how I see and frame it according to my expectations of the benefits of generative AI.
Right, and I absolutely agree with you because for the longest time I used to feel like laptops are slightly inferior when it comes to the webcam quality.
Right.
So आजकल AI के साथ में it's getting enhanced.
Exactly.
Plus, mostly on social media, whatever I follow, I'm starting to see a lot of AI generated content as well, and the warning that comes with it.
Right.
So that's really interesting to see going forward. Do you think there would be any performance gains when it comes to AI PCs? Because our channel, mind you, is like very performance centric. All our viewers are crazy about smartphone performance. So when it comes to performance,
yeah, definitely. When you are running the data on the device, and there will certainly be performance gain. And basically, the AI models, it can perform the query much faster as compared to the earlier situation. So we'll certainly see more performance gain, more use cases, and more user-friendly interaction with the PC. So that will be the entire like end-to-end gain scenario, not just for the consumers, but even for the OEMs and the component players as well. This will bring in more efficiency and cost optimization from their end.
Let's get down to the brass tacks. There are a lot of tech companies that are heavily invested in AI at the moment. We have Nvidia, we have AMD, we have Microsoft, we also have Intel. And they are focusing a lot more on AI than they ever did before. What are your thoughts on that?
I would simply put this in a way that everyone currently is focusing on the hardware part. Everyone is talking about TOPS, the performance.
What are TOPS actually?
TOPS is basically Terra operations. That is basically to define the computing power of the PC.
Right.
So Microsoft is defining it in a different way. All the players are defining it. But ultimately, it's all about the user experience, like how efficiently and smoothly user get into that PC, it adapt to that AI environment. So all those kind of things are more important. And looking from the chipset vendor perspective, I expect that all the chips have their own advantages, and ultimately it goes towards the user requirement, their preference, and ultimately the whole experience that they get out of this AI PC.
Right. And do you have any numbers on what kind of shares we are looking at when it comes to chip makers?
Yeah, I can say that in terms of like now what new trend we are seeing is Windows on ARM. So certainly it runs faster with x86 architecture, and we will continue to see that as more OEMs are forming partnership with Snapdragon, there will be more portfolio from these brands in the coming period. And ARM-based PCs will capture around 43% share in 2024. But we'll continue to see the shipments from the biggest OEMs will continue to run on the x86 architecture. And there will be more momentum from x86 starting 2025, where we have your Intel Panther Lake, then you have AMD Strix Point, Kraken Point. So all of that will be the major volume taker in the coming period. And in terms of like the smartphone OEMs, I'm especially talking about the challenger OEMs. These will be the enthusiastic supporters for the Windows ARM PCs because they have close collaboration with and good goodwill with Qualcomm. Example being Samsung, Xiaomi, Huawei, and Honor.
Right. So do you think this whole x86 versus ARM का जो debate चल रहा था इतने टाइम से, someone is better, वो कुछ और सालों तक चलेगा या फिर वो dilute हो जाएगा थोड़ी टाइम?
I think it will continue to run on because like certainly one player will have little bit an edge over the other, but still I think it ultimately depends upon how the user experience is on these devices. So I think we should still wait for one more year to see the consumer feedback on these devices, and then take out and then give our final opinion, like how the market looks in a more mature state.
Right. So we have seen a certain kind of a trend whenever it comes to a new technology coming in. एक तो होता है कि introductory phase होता है, फिर adoption phase आ जाता है, और फिर मतलब post adoption हो जाएगा, और फिर एक दो और चीजें. I think you must be knowing better. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, sure. So I would like to define this AI experience into 4 different zones. So first is the exploration stage or the awareness stage, which started from 2020 till 2022, where we were talking about CPU, GPU, NPU. We were talking about their importance, their implementation. Then comes the next stage, which is the deployment stage, which started in 2023 and it will go till 2026, where all the component vendors, hardware vendors, they are focusing on building these AI capabilities and putting those AI capabilities into the device. Then comes the third stage, which is basically the AI improvement stage, where we are going to talk about the first replacement cycle of AI PCs and what sort of additional things we can add based on the user feedback. Then comes the fourth stage, which is all about living with the AI. There we are talking a long-term view, 2029 and 2030, where everyone will be focusing on getting those user applications on board, and we'll see the AI penetration reaching over 90% by that period. And you will see a lot of use cases evolving, and the scenario will change drastically by that particular time period. So I think long term will have much more implications. Right now, we are just like setting up the base for our future.
Does it correlate with the smartphone analogy as well? Because we have seen smartphones also take a slightly similar route. Starting में AI cameras के साथ में शुरुआत है, and now it's everywhere.
Right. You correctly pointed out on the smartphone side. I think we are still the early adopters in the case of PC. Smartphones have moved towards little on a higher end and on the mature stage, where we are talking about the use cases. People are more aware as compared to the PC scenario. So they are already aware about the use cases, like talking about Gemini, everything. They have started using, I think, like I was doing one of the interviews where I got to know about like how consumers are using it in their day-to-day life. So I think consumer awareness in case of smartphones has really gone up. And another major trend that we are seeing in case of smartphones is the trend towards premiumization, which was not there earlier. So people are really want to spend more if they get value for money offerings, and like they get good use cases through the use of AI.
Right. Speaking of use cases, one of the biggest issues that people face while using AI is that their battery life takes a huge hit. That has been observed in smartphones also. Let's say there's a really cutting edge camera smartphone जिसके अंदर AI बहुत use होता है, and when we are using AI in the camera, suddenly battery नीचे आ जाती है. Can we expect something similar when it comes to AI PCs, या फिर they'll have a slightly better chance of surviving?
OEMs are now a little bit more mature enough. They are learning from the experience from the smartphone side, and they are bringing improvements both at the hardware and the software front. On the hardware side, we see that the majority of the vendors, like the hardware component that is being used into the device, that actually helps to enhance the battery. For example, you have Intel Meteor Lake, Intel ultra-core processors. So in that, AI is used to control power transmission from active to low power applications. So the AI algorithms themselves are smart enough. They can identify the user habits, and once a user has completed a particular task, it will automatically switch to low power applications. So right now, the scenario that we are seeing is not all the applications are going towards the CPU. So it's a combination, it's parallel processing, where some of the applications are involved with CPU and GPU, and some dedicatedly are working towards the NPU side. This is how like we are seeing this parallel processing. It helps to improve the battery, and even the usage of NPU, it automatically helps to get a better performance. When you switch on the NPU mode, most of the OEMs are committing that it will be a 50% improvement as compared to the normal scenario.
Okay.
And even on the apart from the hardware, even on the software side, we are seeing that OEMs are working towards adding optimization tools. These AI software optimization tools, they can certainly enhance the overall battery performance and the overall performance of the PC as well.
Right. And do you think we will ever reach that phase जहाँ पे हमें 2 दिन का battery life मिले? अभी currently the standard is like 1 day.
Frankly speaking, currently we are in a very early stage. So this is just the first wave of AI PC. So if you are just running the normal task, I think 1 day should be okay. But if you are talking about the demanding applications like video editing or animation, I think we are getting too optimistic about committing on what everyone is saying. I think, but in my view, battery performance, it depends upon a lot of factors. So first factor being your the nature of applications that you are using and the number of applications you are using, even the screen brightness. So there are a whole lot of factors that determine everything. But in reality, practically speaking, it's still a long way to go. It will be less than a day as of now, if we talk about these high-end applications.
Got it. While we're on the topic of the chips that are being used in laptops, AMD has come up with the AI 300. I think Intel has its own Meteor Lake thing going on. And a lot of other chip makers are also having. I think Qualcomm has Elite, right?
Yeah.
So how do these fare against each other, and what's the kind of share that they hold currently in the market right now?
If you talk about the current situation, Intel certainly has the lead. It is taking the majority share, followed by AMD. But in the coming period, as we see Qualcomm making significant investment in this area and seeing their clout in the smartphone technology, we would see certainly the adoption for ARM-based PCs will also go up, which will be powered by Qualcomm. And this, I think the difference is not huge actually in terms of faring against each other. And each one has its own advantages and disadvantages. As I pointed earlier, like it entirely depends upon the consumer segment also, which you are targeting. Like requirements for gamers will be different, requirements for content creators will be different.
जो स्टोरेज के वेरिएंट्स है वो आजकल काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग हो गए लैपटॉप्स के अंदर भी. पहले स्मार्टफोन्स यूज्ड टू मैक्स आउट एट 256 GB. अभी देयर इज अ राइज इन द एडॉप्शन ऑफ लोअर स्टोरेज वेरिएंट्स आल्सो. बट एक चीज़ मेरे को दिमाग में आई थी कि लेट्स से दैट AI is capturing your voice or your data, and if they want to keep it secure, which means कि वो data तो आपके device के ऊपर ही stored होगा. Do you think कि जो storage requirements है वो भी बढ़ते जाएगी?
Definitely, like this is one of the primary requirements while you talk about the adoption and the needs for AI PC. Because to run certain predefined algorithms, you need to have large storage capacity to run those models. So ultimately, you need a large battery. That is like one area. Then you also need a good input source for AI PC. So you need to have a good camera, sensors, microphones. Then the third requirement is connectivity. You need to have a good connection. And the fourth one, which you mentioned, is also like one of the primary thing, like you need better side on the memory. So there will be memory enhancements that we are going to see in the coming period with these devices.
Right. And अगर हम लोग इतने cutting edge features के बारे में बात करेंगे, मतलब the price of the laptops is obviously going to be on the higher end. When can we expect it to come down a little bit so that it's palatable to the usual audience?
So if you see the current scenario, these AI PCs will certainly level up the price of the PC industry. And if you're talking about the mainstream market, and I think we should wait for a price cut on the components if we want to bring a more affordable device in the market. I think there are currently two ways like how you can reduce the price, either lowering on the spec side, or you should wait for the next generation upgrade, because with the next generation, the price for the previous generation will automatically cutting down. The premium market, we see that it still makes sense because of the huge investments which these hardware and the software players are making. We expect that as the market matures, we grow in the number of nodes, the hardware premium will definitely go down. And as the NPU becomes a standard rather than an exception, we will see that there will be more players who will be launching the portfolio on the AI PC side, and price will go down. And even the component players will work towards launching wallet-friendly solutions to cater to the price-sensitive consumers.
Right. And we spoke about, comparing different chip makers. Do you think it makes sense कि हम एक Intel जैसे chip maker को graphics processing unit जैसे Nvidia हो गया, AMD हो गया, इनके साथ compare करें when it comes to AI, or should we consider them all equal at the moment?
I think what we should consider is the combination, the kind of combination that you are using. So let's say you are using one chip from Snapdragon, then what kind of GPU or CPU, MPU, what kind of combinations you are using it together, that will give you an altogether different experience.
So yeah, I mean, it makes sense to put them all together in the same league. Speaking about controversies, AI is quite exciting. Recall ka recall ho gaya.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's a wonderful feature if you talk about in terms of practical application. Like you can find out anything which you have searched or seen previously on your device. But considering that data safety part, I think that is much more important. Considering the current scenario and where consumers are a little bit more sensitive, caring more about their data security. So I think data safety is much more important. But currently there are no hard and fast regulations which can define this. So we'll see more activities from companies around this, but still we are in a nascent stage in terms of integrating it with the device. What we can expect is every company will go back and forth, and it is currently open to multiple iterations until we see a steady state of privacy laws. And I think data safety, it also depends upon nature of applications that we are using and our awareness of what do we share with AI. So ultimately, I think the need of the hour is to implement ethical AI practices to ensure transparency, responsibility, and accountability. For example, like we need to inform the users about their data rights and how do we capturing those information and how it is actually being utilized at every customer touch point.
Recently we did a survey, we call it the MySmartPrice Laptop Satisfaction Study 2024. उसके अंदर हमें बहुत सारी चीज़ें पता चली कि कौन क्या लीड कर रहा है, etc. etc. But we also got to know some pain points. What do you think can be done to address those pain points when it comes to these new AI features coming in?
I think one of the most important thing is like enhancing the overall power and the performance of the device. Hardware requirements will somewhat solve the performance related part. And second thing that we can expect is related to the battery enhancement, which is currently the biggest issue with the current laptops. So I think there we can see certain enhancements. Third thing that we can think about is the customization of the different features, like in terms of like Adobe or in terms of Microsoft 365. Everything can be personalized depending upon what is your use case and how you want to use it in your day-to-day work environment. So I think these three will be the major ones.
Got it. While we are on the topic of Meteor and Lunar Lake, here's what Akshay Kamath from Intel has to say about it. Hi, Akshay. Thank you so much for taking out the time and sharing your insights with us. First of all, congratulations on the recent launch of the Lunar Lake CPUs at Computex. Can you just touch up on the highlights of it or how it'll benefit the users?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Shubham. And, good to be here. And thanks for the congratulations. So yes, we did announce Lunar Lake recently, right? So, let me touch upon, some of the key features, that Lunar Lake brings to the table, right? So first of all, let me just kind of start with saying that, we believe that AI PCs are going to be a big paradigm shift for computing in the future. Now, Lunar Lake is going to be the follow-on, and it is expected to be a groundbreaking mobile processor for us. And the reason for that is because it's going to bring more than 3 times the performance on AI compared to the previous generation. Let's talk about some of the key things in Lunar Lake, right? So first of all, the NPU or the neural processing unit in Lunar Lake will offer up to 48 TOPS of performance on AI, right? So that gives you a very good balance of high performance as well as good power efficiency, which can handle most of the complex AI workloads, right? In addition,
can you just expand a little bit on TOPS? What exactly it means?
Sure. So TOPS stands for tera operations per second, right? And it's basically, it's a theoretical metric. It's a calculated theoretical metric. And what it does is, it's a way to measure, AI accelerator performance. And, the way it's done is TOPS assumes 100% AI accelerator utilization, right? It's a theoretical estimate. TOPS is basically used as a proxy, for evaluating the performance of, AI processors, right? Whether that's an accelerator, a GPU or a TPU or whatever it is, right? So generally, if you have higher TOPS, that means it's a more powerful AI processing engine. But I also want to clarify that the way you want to look at the real AI capabilities of any platform is how it does in real life usages, right? So that's a quick segue on TOPS, right? Now coming back to Lunar Lake. The NPU delivers up to 48 TOPS of AI performance, but we also have a new Xe2 architecture-based GPU in Lunar Lake, right? And that Xe2-based GPU delivers, 1.5 times more performance on gaming compared to our previous generation. But on AI, it offers up to 67 TOPS of AI performance, right? So It's not just the NPU, but the GPU also, which is quite powerful in Lunar Lake. The other feature of Lunar Lake is it represents a leap forward in the SoC or system on chip efficiency, right? And if you look at the the performance and the power management features of Lunar Lake, it essentially sets a new benchmark. For example, we have a new power delivery integrated controller in Lunar Lake. We have enhanced thread director feature. We have memory side cache, and we have an improved E-core cluster. So all these put together, basically give you up to 60% better battery life in real life usages compared to previous generation, right? So these are some of the key, features of Lunar Lake, best in class AI, with up to 120 platform tops, best in class performance and power management and power efficiency as well.
So these were more or less the technicalities of it. Let's come to the real world usage. I was very intrigued by the fact that you can disassemble a music track on Audacity using the AI capabilities. Can you touch upon a few other such use cases when it
Yeah.
comes to AI PCs?
I think, today AI PCs are already capable of doing a lot of new functionalities. Now, in addition to separating the music instruments on Audacity, there are some additional examples which I'll give you. So, just staying on the Audacity topic, you can also create music in Audacity, right? So with a generative AI plugin, you can basically give a simple text prompt, right? And you can, create any kind of tune that you want to. The other features, for example, if you are an office worker, right, you can use AI on your AI PC to automatically summarize meetings for you, right? It can summarize meetings. It can create transcripts for you. You can even, bring up and generate email. It can, summarize documents. It can summarize PowerPoint presentations for you. It can even create PowerPoint presentations or documents, which can be a good starting point for you. Other examples, if you are a content creator, right, and you work on a lot of video-related workloads, right, currently there is AI-based scene detection and cutting, right? So you can do that today. Things like auto color grading, background removal, background blurring. If you're working on a video editing workflow, previously, if you wanted to, say, for example, remove objects from a scene, it would take a lot of time. But today with AI, you can do that in a matter of minutes. Generative AI is one big use case for AI PC. So for example, you can use applications like GIMP with plugins to create any kind of image you want with a simple text prompt. We also believe that we've hardly scratched the surface, right, in terms of the AI applications that are out there. We believe going forward, we will see a lot more interesting use cases come up in the field of AI on the client.
Just touching up upon that thing that you said, we are just scratching the surface of it. I think that's a great way to segue into the next question that I have, which is there is obviously has to be a gap between what the industry has to offer and what the customers really want. Do you think there is anything that's required to bridge this particular gap even after all of these new features?
So, what we feel is that today the industry is moving very rapidly in terms of, adopting AI in a lot of verticals, a lot of consumer usages, etc. And a lot of workflows can benefit and are benefiting from the applications of AI. From our perspective, we are, an end-to-end provider, right? We provide the hardware, which is, all kinds of heterogeneous silicon, right? That's, CPUs, GPUs, dedicated AI accelerators, which is a Gaudi family, for doing things like deep learning and machine learning, right? So, we provide the hardware to harness, data in all formats in, all its shapes and sizes. But we also work extensively with the ISV community to develop these features for the AI PC, right? For example, right, we have worked with, like I said, 100 ISVs with up to 300 AI features, in the roadmap to be enabled on the Core Ultra processors, right? So that's one example. Now, in terms of how we engage with the developer ecosystem, right, and the software ecosystem. So all our software readiness today is built on open standards that unlocks, new levels of performance for inference and training across wide breadth of AI workloads. You have probably seen us announce that, we've kind of optimized over 500 large language models today, to work seamlessly on our AI PCs. So that's just one example of how, deeply we are and broadly we're engaging with the ecosystem. to make things easy for them to develop, AI features. One more thing that I wanted to call out is, our One API programming model, right? So One API is basically the software foundation for our AI strategy. This is a standard programming model. It allows developers to get, the value across different hardware architectures, right? So, whatever that may be, the CPU, GPU, accelerator, they can basically harness that from one source code, right? So that's another example of how easy we make it for developers, right, to leverage different hardware without having to do a lot of, translation. And then lastly, we also have our AI PC acceleration program, right? And through the AI PC acceleration program, we aim to connect the independent hardware vendors and the ISVs, right, with resources on our end and basically help them with AI tool chains, the training, the co-engineering, the optimization on software, et cetera, the technical expertise and so on, to basically enable them and help them to, kind of ramp up and scale up their AI development.
And while being on a very similar note, I think the way we look at PCs these days has changed from what we looked at them 5 years ago. What do you think can be done to probably educate the end customer when it
Yeah.
comes to, telling them that, oh, these are new exciting things, but they are not that difficult to try out?
So AI PC, is going to be, kind of a big thing going forward, right? For example, while we have a lot of training that we are doing, right, for, the retail salespeople in terms of helping them, demo some of these AI features to end users who walk into a store. We have a lot of demos that we have developed, right? We have collaborated with the, the ISV ecosystem, right, to basically get a good representative mix of software that today utilize AI across different kind of customer personas that are there, right? Whether that's a student, whether that's a content creator, whether that's a gamer, whether that's an office worker, right? Which they can today, probably walk into a store, they can try it out, and they can, they can know for themselves, right, how good the features are, right?
So, many of our viewers on our YouTube channel also wanted to ask one very specific thing,
Yeah.
and that is, will AI and all of its little implementations on PCs, or more specifically laptops, affect the battery life?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, right? That's the reason why we have what is called the NPU in the AI PC, right? So, for example, today, most of the modern CPUs, GPUs, that Intel has, we have AI acceleration built into the CPU and GPU. But the NPU, or the neural processing unit, is basically, dedicated AI processing engine. So what this NPU is, it's basically a specialized accelerator for AI, right? And it's able to handle, sustained AI workloads, sustained machine learning workloads on your PC. And the benefit of that is, you don't have to send the data to the cloud to be processed. So what this does is, the NPU does, is that it gives you this high performance on, some of these sustained AI workloads. But the concern on battery life, that's precisely what it addresses. Highly power efficient, and high performance AI engine, right? That's the neural processing unit. It is meant to handle a lot of these, sustained high performance AI workloads without compromising on the battery life, right? And that's why, like I said, with Luna Lake, thanks to the powerful NPU, which is efficient, thanks to all the power management features that we have built into Luna Lake, it still gives you highly advanced performance compared to a previous generation, but it also delivers up to 60% more battery life, on everyday use cases.
Right. And just one final fan question. That would be, what could be some of the AI tools that probably gamers can use? Because we have a huge gaming community on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think we are barely scratching the surface in terms of how AI can be used for gaming. So, for example, today we are using AI for our XeSS feature, right? So, if you're not familiar, XeXS is our super sampling methodology that we use in our Xe graphics, and that basically allows you to run your game at a higher FPS, right, without compromising on visual fidelity, right? So XeSS is today supported on a lot of game titles, with our Intel Arc graphics, right? And Intel Arc graphics is also there in our Core Ultra family. And because of XeXS, you can get high FPS, but really good rich quality. So that's one example right there today, where AI is used by XeSS to do this super sampling. There are a lot of other use cases, which are there, right? So, for example, if you're a gamer, a lot of gamers also stream while they play, right? And we see, for example, a lot of streaming AI, tools today use AI in some shape or form, right? And the other way where I see it is if you're a gamer streamer, you typically would be swapping out your background, right? You would probably be, putting a very colorful background, or you would be, putting, say, colorful bunny ears, all those kind of effects that you do. Well, that can be done very efficiently and very, nicely by AI features today that are built into some of these streaming tools, right? So just some examples, XCSS, the AI is already built in, right? And it allows you to get a smooth gameplay. Streaming tools use them, right? So if you're a gamer streamer, you can already use that today. And I think going forward, game developers are also, figuring it out how they can, use AI for, improving the in-game experiences, right? With the content that's in the game, the personas or avatars that are in the game. So I suspect we will hear a lot more from developers as they use this technology, and we'll see a lot of innovations coming forward in the gaming space as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time again.
No problem. Thank you.
To get even more insights on what's happening on the other side of the industry, we are here at the HP office in Gurugram. Let's have a look at what they have been up to in this office. Thank you so much for taking out the time. First, I would like to understand why is AI really coming to PCs in the first place? Consumers have already tried it out on smartphones. What is that extra stuff that makes it magical when it comes to laptops?
So AI is obviously a big thing happening in the industry, and it's really picked up pace this year, I would say, and we expect it to be really the next big revolution happening in the PC industry. Yes, you're right. It's a phenomenon that we've been seeing happening across different devices. What really makes us excited is how it's going to land on PCs and how it's going to increase the relevance and the end use cases of PCs for customers. It makes the jobs simpler. It makes mundane tasks so much easier to manage and in much faster time. And that's where the PC form factor from productivity, education, entertainment really lends itself so well. So that's really where the match of AI and AI on PC is really so exciting.
Right. Getting down to the brass tacks, specifically for HP, what are the new exciting innovations in AI on laptops/PCs that we can expect as consumers?
So we've been really working on the evolution of how AI on PC and how it's going to go forward from here. So what we really want is, like I said, better customer experiences. So when AI offers better video, graphic, audio effects to really make the hybrid work environments that everybody is actually now working from home, from offices, from airports, from everywhere that they are, it really enhances that experience for the consumers and for the customers who are on the go on that. It really increases the productivity manifold because the complex jobs become simpler. The simple jobs which took some time to perform themselves on the mundane issues, etc., they have much lesser lag on that. There is a whole lot of better collaboration and creativity actually that these devices lend. For example, the AI PCs that we've launched for the consumers, for gamers, for freelancers, for creators, are really giving them the next level in terms of the PCs really thinking along with themselves, whether it's on content consumption or it's on content creation. When we come to corporate users, it's making their workloads simpler. It's making their complex data easier to manage, and it's all happening in a very secure and a very in a very private environment.
Right. And do you think that going forward, that AI moniker or the badge is going to be a key differentiator or like a boost in terms of sales? Like, let's say you have a vanilla laptop versus the AI laptop, people are going to be going for the AI one more.
I think what we are looking at is this is definitely a big opportunity and a big revolution that's going to happen on the PC form factor platform. It's almost like the internet many years back, right? And over a period of time, everything became Wi-Fi and everything became connected. Similarly, I think over the next few years, we are going to actually see and really the acceleration happening from this year and it's accelerating over the next few years. Eventually, we think that consumers, customers sitting across their personas, their profiles are all going to require AI PCs because AI is all prevalent already and it's going to become even more and more relevant as we go along. What we're working on right now is to land simple end use cases to sort of educate and then enhance the lives of all our consumers and and customers, and then we see them adopting that, and we see them then accelerating that adoption as we go forward.
Right. And India is a very value-centric kind of a market where people like to prefer laptops that are reasonably priced. And much of the AI use cases can also be considered for students, probably corporate professionals who probably don't earn that much. When do you think AI will trickle down to the mid segment or the budget segment going forward?
Great question. We are very conscious about making our devices very affordable for our consumers and obviously all the customers that sit across our persona profile. So we already have great affordability programs in the form of easy financing, in the form of trade backs, exchange, so that it makes it easier for the consumers to adopt to the next level of technology without actually pinching their pockets beyond a point. However, we are also working very closely with all our silicon partners, the likes of Intel, and with the software partners like Microsoft, in terms of making the technology as pervasive and as affordable as possible going forward. So yes, it's going to be a journey. As the adoption goes, as the scale also goes up, we definitely see these costs actually also becoming even more affordable for consumers and customers who want to adopt this going forward.
Right, and you just mentioned a lot of your partners when it comes to hardware, software, OEMs. What are the opportunities linked to them when it comes to AI, when it comes in the picture, and when you keep HP as well in the whole ecosystem?
Yeah. I think the way the overall industry is looking at right now is everybody wants to partner together and bring the best technology together for the consumers and customers to actually adopt. So it's going to be it is going to be a very, very close collaboration effort. We are already seeing partners like Qualcomm enter, and we've already seen some new launches happening on products for them. We're seeing Intel coming very soon with their next level of processors, the ultra-core processors. We definitely have Microsoft also partnering very, very closely on the Copilot and the other Copilot Plus end use cases, and the others are definitely going to be there. From the entire ecosystem of the partners that we have in the channel ecosystem, we are working very closely with them so that they become adept, skilled, and absolutely ready to carry all the new products and the technology to the market, so that it becomes easier for the consumers to understand whether buying from stores or buying from corporate resellers or buying from direct from the organization. So that's really how we see the entire ecosystem evolving together on this.
Don't you think this is very different from what we have seen traditionally, especially in terms of the laptop ecosystem? Because now we can see players come together and provide a good service. In the past, I have just seen maybe 3 or 4 top hardware brands coming together, but now we can see a much larger picture. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think every new, and this is definitely a new technology and a new revolution, which actually requires everybody to come together and to really create the best proposition for the customers. Secondly, I think it's also like at HP, I can tell you that we are really very, very involved and very keenly collaborating with them in terms of making sure that all of the goodness that is actually going to happen, or all of the end-use productivity benefits that are going to happen, are not only the devices or the hardware will essentially be the platform from the house of HP. So, for example, the EliteBook G1 series that we've launched, a G11 series, as well as the OmniBooks that have been launched in the market, and also what we actually got to the market in the form of Omen and the NV 14-inch. All of the new AI PCs across consumer and commercial are really bringing all the end-use benefits were available or are available separately. But this really, HP provides the platform, and then added with HP's own patented technologies, the SmartSense technology, for example, for optimized battery life, and the Poly Studio technology, for example, for the best audio-video benefits, etc. So we're just making sure that everybody's coming together, and then we are in turn going out with the best that we have to offer to our consumers and customers.
Sure. And just to wrap things up, do you have any specific message to the viewers of ours that you want to send across to that particular camera?
Yeah, I think the first, it's very simple. I think we definitely keep trying to bring the best that we can from the house of HP. So do continue to stay tuned. Keep watching for what's really happening in the market. It's our effort in terms of making lives easier, making technology simpler to adopt, and we really look at all the feedback. It is going to be a dynamic process. We are going to keep bringing out the best that we have, but it's really that we will also keep learning and evolving, and we are very excited about the evolution that's going to happen ahead. And do stay tuned and keep watching us on MSP Tech in Focus.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. That was a really insightful session. अगर आपको और ऐसी टेक के बारे में इंसाइट चाहिए, make sure you're subscribed and following My Smart Price.